My dear friends, I'm very pleased to have an opportunity to share with you my knowledge and my experience in an inter-border relationship between Russian Federation and our Western Europe. Few words about me. Alexander Peske. I'm Swiss-Russian journalist. I was built up in Switzerland for journalistic activities, but I was born 45 years before in Russia, as a son of a Russian mother and Estonian father. Not Estonian, but Baltic German father. You know, to the Hanseatic League times, many Germans goes to the East, you know, 1,000 years before. And now, you know, some people from this region who lives and works in Europe. Example, Alexander Graf Lambsdorff is also Baltic German. He is now current ambassador from Germany in Moscow. Or Alexander van der Bellen, the president of Austria, is also Baltic German. Also his roots are based in Estonia, like mine. Or Alexander Rahr is a famous German journalist, book author, and also interconnector between cultures. You see, four Baltic Germans, and all of them Alexanders. Yes, yeah, it's a fun. I was born in Grozny. It's a capital of Chechnya. Chechnya, that's a part Republic of Russia, which has one civil war and second war against terrorism. I came to Switzerland with 70, in the age of 70. I wanted to the time avoid duty in Russian army, just because it was a time of civil war, and I was not so happy about idea to be part of civil war in my country, in my republic, in my own home. Now I'm happy Swiss citizen, and I travel a lot to Russia. I've been there 2 weeks before. I visited maybe all the biggest cities, and north, the south. I was behind the Ural, and at the same time I speak Ukrainian language. I understand Ukrainian language. I've been in Ukraine many times. Just before I worked in a German company which was owned by Ukrainian, still owned by Ukrainian. I've been in Donetsk, Mariupol, Dnipropetrovsk, Zaporizhia, Odessa, Kiev, Lviv, all the cities in Ukraine I know not from TV or newspapers. Last time I've been in Ukraine in October 21, few months before the war began. It's a little bit information about me for the people who looks, you know, on YouTube or on Facebook and asking who the guy. And my job is build a picture about how the Russian thinking about the world, the entire whole world, and current situation in the Western. Russia is not the best country of the world, but is definitely not the worst country in the world. Don't forget, Russia, like a European Union or USA, is a capitalistic state that works in the same schemata like USA or Europe. How to say, Alec? Maximum of earnings. That's our growth to the end. That's maxima. That's rules also in Russia. We have no ideological gaps more. You know, several years before, it was a fight between systems, communistic systems and capitalistic world. Now is Russia a part of capitalistic world? with a place on a big table, World Trade Organization, which Russia joined 2008. Russia wants since years be a part of Western world. President Putin spoke more and more times in Western. We won't be a part of you. Till 2007, his speech on München Security Conference. And you know, in Europe or in Western, has enough people, they saying Putin is a great tactiker, but worse strategical man, yeah, an unable strategic man. You know, we are 15 years later, and we see our world is again divided, and we don't know how we should make the next step. A short background information, historical background. How the Russians see the world. 200 years before, a great Emperor Napoleon. Napoleon's invasion, it's written in European books. But Russians understand that is Western coalition. 612,000 men across Russian border. It was French, Germans, Swiss people, 9,000 Swiss people went to Russia to seek for a luck. Austrian, Polen und Italien. 1 year later, from 9,000 Swiss men, come back 600. 600. It was a disaster. For Napoleon, it was also a big mess for Russia. Old capital Moscow was fired till bones and stones. 500,000 Western soldiers, fathers, sons, and men died on this road. 200 Russian, it was not so proper counted how many. You know, Russia in that time was not so, you know, people's life was not a big price or worth. 50 years later, Crimea War. Again, Western coalition goes to the Russia, to Crimea, to Sevastopol, and held many battles there. French, British, Ottoman, Turk, and Sardinia Piedmont. It was before Italian state was founded. You know, 50 years later, against the entire Western, goes to the Russia to search for luck. The Russian Tsar Nicholas I died during this war, just because in this war Russia has lost territory and power and many peoples. 50 years later, Allied Western coalition intervened in the Russian Civil War to beginning of last century. French, British, US, Hellenic, Polish, Czech, Serbs, Czech, Canadian, Japans. Also Australian wars in this war on Russian ground. At the same time, to Russian civil war. You see, Crimea is again under Germans, Odessa under French and British. British attacked Arkhangelsk in the north, brought the tanks, and look, that's a Russian in civil war, and there's a Western guy who brings the weapons. That's the picture of that time. Is our history. In my breast beating two hearts, a Russian heart and my German blood heart. You know, like a Russian flag. is an eagle with two heads, is a heritage of Byzantine Empire. One Russian head looks to Europe just because the last Tsar Nikolaus was for maybe 75% of his blood a German guy, only for 1% Russian. And second head of this bird looks to the east. Russia is biggest country of the world, 70 million square kilometers compared to the Switzerland, 41,000. 70 millions. The border of Russia has a length of 60,000 kilometers. Is more than a quarter. 22,000 on the ground and 38 on the sea. I'm sharing completely the opinion of Mr. Bossart. Russia has no idea or needs invade now maybe Baltic states. For what? Baltic states is almost pure. The people went in the Baltic states live only old people. No gas, no oil, no diamonds, no gold, nothing. Russian cannot rule his own land. And please compare, now is Russian army is about 1,000,001 or 1,200,000 warriors. Compare Stalin's Red Army, which was able to take our Warsaw, Prague, Berlin, Wien, and Budapest, has more than 30 million warriors, 30. At the same time, it was possible to occupy a half of Europe with 30 million soldiers. And now it was million. Come on, it's a funny. But second World War, many say, you know, this is Hitler Feldzug, Drang nach Osten. No. For Russian, it's not a Hitler. It's 6 million Germans, 600,000 Italian, 600,000 Romanian, 200,000 Hungarian, 20,000 Slovak, our brother, 3,000 Spanish. You know? And the Finnish guys, all them went to the Moscow, to Stalingrad, to Baku. Also they want oil also. Drang nach Osten. New space for European area people. Russian was counted as Untermensch, a people to second or third class. In this bloody war, you see, 11,500 casualties Russian is only military casualties. It's not civilian in this number. And close to 9 million casualties from coalition. Yeah, it was a price for Hitler's plan to overtake Russia, to get new space. But we are living in a world, the entire world says the Russians are coming in Europe. Frau Strack-Zimmermann, Kiesewetter, Röderich, Anthony, Hofreiter, all these political losers explain now to us, Russians are coming, Russians are coming. It's a history based on nothing. As you said, we have a current situation. Now is western of Russia surrounded by NATO states. You can say, come on, it's not so much. 140,000 NATO UNTS troops on Europa ground. Additional, we see 1.5 million the troops of the European countries. and we have only this number of Russian troops in whole Russia. Who is in more dangerous situation now? Who? And then, if the moving of the NATO was here, a small place, and then in the last 25 years we became the NATO to the door of Hermitage. You know, that was the capital, St. Petersburg, and the empire lived there. From Finland now, NATO state, to the St. Petersburg, we have 100 kilometers on the airline, and from Kharkiv, here, we have only 600 kilometers to the Moscow. If the Western coalition will put the rockets, not atomar field, but missiles and other weapons, the situation in Moscow and Petersburg became more and more difficult, just because these big cities, important cities for Russia, they are on the border. It's funny. The American placed in Poland and in Romania Aegis missiles, and they're saying that's against Iran. Iran is over there. Okay, says guys from Moscow. Why do you not place rockets in Turkey? It's much closer. You can hit the missiles, Iranian missiles, in a fragile position by start. No, says American. No. It's not so important. Believe us. Just believe us. About Russia. Never lived Russian people so wealthy, so healthy, so long, and so free like now. That's the figures from World Bank. It's not Russian figures. It's a World Bank. No poverty, zero hunger. Some more data. 90% of people has free access to internet. Free access to internet with some propaganda sources are banned. Deutsche Welle, BBC in Russian, or several names. Internet is free. People who live in the country has whole information from the world. They can build about how we're living here in Europe, in America, in US, or entire world. Yet I make a switch to Ukraine. I love Ukraine. I know the people. My wife has her last name as also Ukrainian. We don't know how her family gets Ukrainian last name. That shows how our common history work between Russian and Ukrainian. You see no red lines, no borders. We are one people's group and family. No one asked. Alexander Novak is a vice-premier of Russian government. Is the man who deals with Arabian, with Colombian, with Venezuelan guys about the oil business. We know, you know the story, how the oil cartel names, OPEC plus. This guy is Ukrainian, born in Ukraine. Madame Matvienko, she is the head of parliament chamber, like in Switzerland, Ständerat. She was born, she wearing Ukrainian name. She loves Ukraine. And many people in Russian government, they've been born in Ukraine and they're wearing Ukrainian names. It is not a conflict between Russian and Ukrainian people. we have a strange situation. Ukraine is not in NATO, not in European Union, but is a willing state. It lives like they would be a part of NATO. I give you source, no Russian sources. It's Carnegie Endowment International Peace. And they're writing very interesting material. The sources are also here. Underachiever Ukraine economy since 1991. I've been with a big German delegation in Ukraine, and we are visited on ask from Ukraine Oboronprom. That's the firm that's achieving Ukrainian defense industry. I saw it, Antonov, the plant where being built airplanes. I saw it, state Mariupol wagons, plants. In Lviv, buses plants. In Kharkiv, I've been in plant named Malishev, where built tanks. As empty spaces. Ukraine, it was third or fourth economy in Europe after 1991. They was able to build rockets for space, airplanes, tanks, buses, car carrier, also Lastwagen. They were the biggest air carrier of Soviet Union was built also in Ukraine.
And of China.
That's live here now in China. But they've been built in Ukraine. It was industrial cluster and monster. Now, 30 years later, Ukrainian to make a painting of their, Fischer Kutter, they have to cross the Black Sea to the Turks. Turks make reparation. No ability, no heritage of industrial times. Zero. Empty spaces. Why? That's nice. When corruption, efficiency, Ukraine has a good geography, Black Sea, harbors, east to west roads and railways. Oh, nice. But Ukraine's population seems poised to continue declining. The people go out from Ukraine since years and years just because they are not believe in this state. It's written here. It's written by American NGO, that Ukraine is classical type of failed state. Ukraine bleeded out since years. And it's nice. This too has no chance to share Ukraine in 2013. Many of people saying, yeah, Russia will kill Ukrainians, Russia will destroy Ukraine just because of history and blah, 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 blah. No. Russia and EU are competitors in the same capitalistic world. And they are fighting for their sales market. Point. No ideological gaps. Merkel has promoted Eastern Partnership, and Putin, when he built Eurasian Union. And Ukraine with 35 million customers, with cutted economy, is like a, is like a drugler, how to say it, drug people who needs every day a shot. Ukraine producing nothing. It's a good marketplace. You can deliver goods and selling to the people. Merkel and Putin was not able to find an approach to be able from both sides dealing with Ukrainian people. It was the beginning of the mess. It's funny. Many people say revolution of dignity in Ukraine. What is revolution? 10 years before we had a first Orange Revolution in Ukraine. Also 2 revolutions in 20 years. Also is typically violent, okay, in government and related association, blah, blah, blah. But what revolution has to do? The revolution had bring a new order, different from the preceding one. But Ukraine has no revolution. One group overtake the power against competitors. Poroshenko is the competitor of Yanukovych. Both is oligarch. They are fighting for their business. Is not not a lack of democracy and right state and something like that. In Ukrainian parliament, you will never find in the last 30 years a party who wearing name Social Democrats or Christian Democrats or Liberal Party or Green Party. Nothing, zero. It's only party by name of one big man, Poroshenko bloc. Yulia Tymoshenko bloc. You can read in Ukrainian newspaper, not Russian, not Western, in Ukrainian newspaper, the names of MPs who sit in which loan group, loan list, payroll. The people are completely corrupt. Ukrainian MPs earning money is the second wealthy parliament in whole Europe after Italian. Italians are best. Ukraine is number 2. What we talk about democracy, right state, and it's a joke. The conflict, 2014, before Poroshenko came, on February 23rd, one day after the coup, after this revolution, the law number 1 that Ukraine parliament released is a law that forbid or prohibited using Russian language. We are not Russian. It's prohibited to be studied in Russian, to talk in a job or on the streets. It was a long story, but Russian language is banned from media. It's not allowed to print the books or newspaper. You can book in English, French, Chinese, but not in Russian. It's banned. But in this language speaks more than a half of population of country. In Eastern Europe, people using searching machine Yandex and Google as a 50-50 market. But it's funny. In Ukraine, in searching machine, people using by 80% Russian language. So far, so good. Ukrainian language is nice language. It sounds well. You can find, good number of Ukrainian authors with roman, with lyrics. It's not a question of quality of language. Just because Russian in many Soviet republics is a franca lingua. If you want to be a professor or astronaut or whatever, you have to speak Russian. It's not good, it's not bad. It's a franca lingua, like in Roman Empire. That's, you see, the Council of Europe, regard of this issue, obviously, that's rather decision called lead to subsequent aggravat. Sorry for my English and without the brill. Ukraine should become a problem after this law. Yeah, there's no question. That's the Crimea. You look here, 80% of people speaks Russian as a mother tongue. Here, more than 50%. Population of Crimea is to 65% are Russian. Ukrainian by 25%, and then Krim Tatar and some small groups. And that's funny. That's the wording. We in Western, we are speaking about annexation. But Russian speaking reunification, like a German, 35 years before. East German came together with West German. All the Germans are happy. Russian on Crimea comes back to family, Russian family, to Russian Federation, and they are happy. Ukrainian is not so happy, but they destroyed her own state on self. Yeah, clear, Putin and some soldiers helped the Crimea people to make this change. But it's not a conflict. Russian people on Crimea, they wanted to get back to their family. And then what make our honorable EU don't believe that people on Crimea voted for change to Russia. They are saying Putin with machine gun, they pushed the people to Russia. And at the same time, 2014, EU make new sanctions against the people, inhabitants of Crimea, not against the Putin, against the people. 3 million people who lived in Crimea since then cannot visit EU, cannot buy Telefunken TV, or, Zug, wash machine. It was a dumb. Yeah, people from Crimea bought Chinese, Korean TV and washing machine and dishwasher. And EU has punished people. They've been taken by Putin over. They are how to say it in Geisel, how to say it in hostages, yeah. In Western newspaper, you can read about the hostages of Putin. That's the population of Crimea. But at the same time, EU banned these hostages from connection to the Western world. It's funny. Alexander Hook. It was for me important that he says he was not convinced that official Russian troops in big number was implemented in Donbass fighters. Yeah, we know Russia support Donbass people. That's clear. But narrative that Russian troops took over whole Donbass is a fake. Our Swiss guy, our diplomat, says there's no evidences. There's no evidences. At the same time, before the war began, the big war between 14 and 22, in Ukraine, they've been died 40,000 people in 2014 and 15. Ukrainian forces fired many times on Donetsk, on Luhansk. In Luhansk is the capital of Luhansk Republic. We have footage on YouTube. You can see how the Ukrainian pilot flying over the city and shooting to the people. Not to the military base or police troops, to the people's crowd. It is true, all the sources down. And we see it was quite intensive. It was intensive explosions reported in Donetsk, reported in Luhansk. In Western, we can show in Tagesschau in Germany, yeah, that Russian bombs Donbass. Okay, it's funny. You have to once visit this region and you see from which side comes the bombs. Once again, this Schmierentheater. That's she has lied to him and he lied to her. Yeah, Putin says 2014 on Crimea, these green people is not our guys. It was not true. But she has this Minsker paper developed just for to gain the time for Ukraine to bring the Ukraine after Vordermann to bring Ukraine on more better position with weapon, with forces. It is politique. And when Frau Baerbock says Putin is a liar, okay, but after the comma, she should say Frau Merkel also. These both politicians from the same club. Also the French man, Hollande, funny man. It's very pity me for this man. Is a great social democrat politician of Germany. I have respected him. He tried to deal with this conflict. Steinmeier plan. We know it. He wrote one plan, second plan, third plan. Ukraine, in spite of them, they reveal no one point in Minsk Abkommen and Steinmeier plan. Steinmeier was angry with Ukrainian guys from Kiev. But now, after war began, he went to Canossa on the knees to Zelensky. It is the great German politician is now smaller than the smaller Ukrainian president in his figure. It's pity. I mean, it's pity. What I can say about Vladimir Zelensky? Yeah, he was not bad guy. He was a proper guy. No connection to oil businesses, gas businesses, or some difficult businesses. He was a showman, and he was a good showman. He earned honest monies and leave it and buy some houses in Italian or on Crimea. It was a clear story. But he thought his country needs him. And that's his words. I will kneel before the people of Donbass. That's Ukrainian source. And that in pictures of rally before they became a president. He staying on the knee, and the Poroshenko staying also off the knee, but backwards to the people. Strange people, strange politician, with a back to his fan group. The guys are a little bit dizzy. Please. 3 promises did he before he became president. Freedom on Donbass, introduction of referendum. I was happy. I thought Ukraine comes ahead, like Switzerland with our culture of referendum. People has to be asked what they want. Just because the Poroshenko has written in the constitution way to the EU and way to the NATO before, without asking a people, without a decision of parliament. Just because Poroshenko means, I can, yes I can. The guys think they can also. But 50% of Ukrainians think Zelensky failed to fulfill all the most pre-election promises. A half of population of Ukraine don't believe to his president because he is a liar. It's official. Now some words about our misery. Our misery. Please, our guest house, Germany. Vasily Golod, ARD, every day, every evening on Haupt TV show Tagesschau explain us how Ukraine lived. Vasily Golod is Ukrainian guy. He has also German pass and German education. But he sent unfiltered Ukrainian propaganda into German homes. They are good linked. No one has asked to him, can you prove the information that you sent to us? No. On state canal ARD, to the best, to prime time, Ukrainian propaganda comes to Germans' ears, Swiss ears and Austrian ears. Maybe some people in Luxembourg and Liechtenstein join also German news. German journalist, that's the editor-in-chief of Die Welt. And 2 journalists from Bild, they get an orden from him. For what? For what? 3 Journalisten, I need my Brille. No, that's cool. That's cool. Habe dazu beigetragen, die deutsche Regierung zu Waffenlieferungen an die Ukraine zu bewegen. German press moved their government, pushed the government to deliver weapons to Ukraine. It's a job of free and quality press in our Western. I have a doubt. Scholz, yesterday, he says, Slava Ukraini. Slava Ukraini says, these guys and these guys, that's collaborator of Nazis. Slava Ukraini is like Heil Hitler. It's the same people. Every year on January 1st, Ukrainian Nazis hold a torchlight march. Every year. To the center of Kiev. In Germany, can you say Heil Hitler? No. Can you read a book, nice book from Austrian painter, Mein Kampf? No. In Ukraine, guys held marches through the capital with torches and saying, Heil, Heil, Heil. Nice. And the Scholz shared this story. That was yesterday. Perfect. That's also a pity story. Top advisor of the Western Russia policy, Mikhail Khodorkovsky. That's the guy he has lost against the Putin. He was in jail for 10 years. And no one in Russia says something good for him. Just because he is thief. With the help of system of Switzerland, in the Canton Zug, he has a good work. He brought the oil to the world market. He canalized the money trace through the Switzerland. He has no paid serious number of Steuern, tax in Russia. He was in jail for 10 years. No one Russian says about against. But he is now advisor of Western politics and says you don't should have a fear against the Putin. That's also our Western problem. On our side, we're saying the Russians are coming, and at the same time we're saying no, Putin is a joker. He talk too much, but do nothing. It's not a little bit dangerous play for us. Quite dangerous. I don't know. What does Putin want? Our American friends want that we are European defeated. And finally, our guy in Moscow. We should American says, no, 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 no American boots on the ground. We're in Europe. Ukrainian men, they're fleeing out from country. In Germany, we have 630,000 Ukrainian men in the age of duty in army. In whole EU, 1.5 million guys from Ukraine. They don't want go to the home and dying on the front. Okay, then we have to say honest. What is the second option? Yeah, German guys, French guys, like 100 years before. Is nothing new under the sun. We have to say our French, German, Italian mothers, be prepared. We comes and bring your guy, your son, to the Ostfront. We need you. Just because Ukrainians are not willing defend their home, Americans are busy in far, far west. Now as you on the right. It's last slide. It's what I think. The peoples of Eurasia do not want a repeat of large continental wars with millions of dead people and destroyed infrastructure. Peace, security and economic prosperity from Vladivostok to Lisbon are possible. Is possible, sorry. Okay, now it sounds like a, I don't know, far away from reality, from real policy. But one day we have to move us to this point. A point where we be ready to create new security infrastructure. We cannot avoid this option. Second option is the war. A big war like a Second World War. And then Germany sees like, you know, and Russia also. Ukraine is on the halfway to the mess. The picture is cool. This is the battlefield of Borodino, 20 kilometers from Moscow. The Napoleon wins. Russians are avoiding the Napoleon. And 3 days later was Napoleon in Kremlin, and he was the great. He was the great. He read it, letters, I'm the greatest. After 1.5 years, he was a prisoner. That's this true story of the challengers are here. We should not repeat the ways of our great, you know, lights on from the history. Napoleon, Hitler, Kaiser, the second, the German, Annalena Baerbock. No, it's not same in the same sentence, but that's leader. They bring us to the mess. I'm sure, and I'm sure that Russians are 155% ready to fix the conflict and became next 50 years of freedom. I do not believe freedom for every times. Russians don't believe also, but for next 50 years, it would be a good story. I'm finished. One question and then and then we are bilateral.
I have a quick question on in 1991, I think in April, Ukraine declared independence from the Soviet Union.
Correct.
At that time. Now, I believe they did that not independently. Who was behind that push for independence? You know?
It's difficult to say, but you know, the people of Soviet Union, Uzbeks, Estonian, Ukrainian, they've been tired about, you know, Soviet order. They've been really tired, and it's funny, but in the same year, 1991, Ukraine has last or second before the last referendum, and 74% says no, we won't stay in Ukraine in April or March, and then Ukrainian government says no, it was consultation, nothing, and they make a 6 months really pushy news propaganda, and then in December of 1991, second referendum, and then Brexit or Ukraine exit was prepared.